That idea of saying people came out of nowhere is nonsense. There is nobody who comes out of nowhere. Just because you are not there when he's killing the lion and the bear does not mean he did not kill them. Nobody appears before Goliath just like that. In everybody's destiny, there is what is called the season of appearing. John remained in the wilderness until his season of appearing. Many years ago, sir, I used to play keyboard for a man who would later run a prison ministry. That time they went to preach. They were part of the people who went to preach for even one of the former, president in this nation when he was in prison. I used to play keyboard for them. I would carry my own keyboard and trek. I had my church. I would finish and come back and trek and go and play the keyboard. For all the time I played that keyboard, the only reward I ever got in my life was one bottle of Fanta and one cassette during the launching. Many people cannot serve now. They didn't tell me thank you. They didn't give me money. It's a joke. When you love Jesus, it's an honor to even play any kind of role, whether it's cleaning. We live in a generation that is obsessed about thank you. Don't get me wrong. Leaders should be very thoughtful. However, if thank you is your motivation, forget about greatness. God sees my heart that I served with all my life and I gave my best. It was not the best in the rain and the sun. The keyboard is my own. No, it's not like maybe it was. I will carry it by myself and go and set it up and play with joy and return back. Everybody say service. Never trust people who don't have a track record of serving. I repeat, never trust a man of God, a businessman who does not have a track record of service. Among the many things that service does is it begins the foundation of your appreciating checks and balances. Some of this unguarded living, where nobody is able to constructively communicate truths that can help us, it comes because most people they don't understand the power of structure. When Elisha, who would later become a great prophet, it was not in his destiny to be a prophet. The prophet should have come out from the sons of the prophets, because Elijah had a group he was training, but it was through service. The Bible calls Elisha the man who poured water on the hand of Elijah. To appreciate that, you need to know how angry and how temperous a person Elijah was. Do you know the things that Elisha had to endure? Another benefit of service is that it builds compassion in you, because from the things that you have tasted and touched, good or bad, it will now help to filter the way you do ministry. Most people do not have conscience and empathy because they never served. Even if you serve a man who ill-treats you, even if you serve a man who is not his best, because all men are men, the best of us is still human. You will see that human side, whether some weakness, some area that has not been corrected yet, or God is still working on. The man can be a mighty prophet, yet he's an angry man. When he gets angry, it's as if Jesus just left him. He can rain it down on you, and while you want to run away, God will say stay. I don't endorse the anger, but I found something in it that can train you. He will say stay there. Some of you, let me tell you this, because of your destiny, God will relocate you and put you in the family of extremely harsh and insensitive people for a period of 5 or 6 years. You will cry and cry and cry and say, God, are you this heartless? And God will say, no, I am that thorough. I know where you are going, and I know, although the limitation in their character is not the best, but I have found it a useful tool to train you for the kind of place you are going. So they will wake you up by 2 a.m. They think they are being wicked to you, and they make you wash the plates by 2 a.m. and while you are crying, your destiny is rejoicing. He's saying that is the exact kind of discipline that will be needed for the ministry God is calling you. Can I tell you, when God is silent, understand what he's saying. When God is silent on you, among the many things he's saying is that what you are going through is birthing something consistent with his will. The silence of God is a voice. You must know what he's saying when he's not saying anything. Are we together? Let me tell you this. The school of the spirit is so meticulous in its dealings. Any class you jump in the school of the spirit, that will become the weapon Satan will use to kill you. In the physical universities and colleges of education, you can miss certain lectures and just read up during exam and write and pass. But in the school of the spirit, when you miss character 101, something you don't know there will wait until you become a millionaire before it manifests. When you miss prayer 101, it will wait for you until the day demons attack you. Everybody say service. Most of the things you want to learn have been designed for you in service. Some of you are in this house now. The truth is that eventually and in the future, you will be running your own ministries too, but God planted you quietly. Now here is where the devil has mastered something about the itch of men to find expression. When God wants to give you 2 million next week, the devil will give you 500,000 today, 20 naira, so that you pick everything in a hurry and run away. Some of you are in this church right now. Some of you are men of God under others. You are anointed sincerely, even more anointed than maybe your various overseers. And the devil would design men who come to tell you, did you listen to the message pastor preached? You know that revelation you were correcting in our little Bible study. You see the mistake he was making too. And they begin to say something to you that brings pride. Some of you may come from backgrounds where your pastors may not have that kind of revelation, and God keeps you there and say, don't worry, I will supplement for his inadequacy. Thank God for internet. But there is something about his character that kept him for 60 years as a reverend. Learn. Are we together? Let me tell you this. When you see great people who God does not seem to be lifting, don't help him lift them. There is something he's doing with them. Why are you in the welfare department and yet you can pray for 7 hours? God says stay there. There is something I'm teaching you. And sometimes you can feel so insulted and feel, I thought by now I should be a pastor, a deacon. Is it that my pastor is blind? With the kind of grace I have, with all humility, every other person, they know that I have revelation and I have this. I go and preach somewhere and they celebrate me, yet I come to my own church and I sit down quietly. Let me advise you, stay there and pay attention to what you are learning, because these days that you are rushing to leave, you will miss it. Everybody